Welcome, welcome, welcome. Math Course 1, Middle School Math, Unit 2, Multiplying and Dividing Fractions. Topic 2, Multiplying Fractions by Fractions. Remember, at the end of each image, just about each image, we'll have an activity to do. Open your student books. How to multiply fractions. So, we're going to learn how to multiply fractions. Multiplying fractions is easy because we multiply the top numerators together and the bottom numerators together. So let's look at the example 3/4 times 2/5. Step 1, write the multiplication problem down. 3/4 times 2/5. Multiply the numerators. 3 times 2 equals 6. Now multiply the denominators. 4 times 5 equals 20. Now write the new fraction, 6/20. Now check to see if the fraction can be simplified. Can we break this down more than 6/20? So if you need to do it in a way to where it's easier for you, just see if it goes into 2, right? Just see if it goes into 2. Can we divide it by 2? Can we divide the numerator by 2 and the denominator? If so, let's break this down. So 6 divided into 2 gives us 3. And 20 divided into 2 gives us 10. So that means we broke this down. We simplified 6/20 to 3/10. Can we break it down even more than that? No, because 2 cannot go into 3 and give me an actual number without giving me a remainder. So 3/10 is your answer. Excellent job. Pause this video so that you can discuss the activity in your workbook. Now we're going to simplify the fraction. Just in case you did not understand it when we did it on the other page, let's do it again. Let's do it to where we slow it down and I actually show you the visuals so that you're able to see what I meant, what was meant. So simplifying means making the numbers smaller while keeping the same value. Yes, we repeat things in this course because repetition helps us remember. If you're that type of person who could just remember, excellent job, good for you, but we do it for those who need it. So let's look at the fraction 6/20. Step 1, write the fraction. Our fraction is 6/20. Step 2, find the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor, what is a number? What is a factor that they both have in common? The greatest common factor of 6 and 20 is 2. Okay? So now we're going to divide the numerator and denominator by the same number. Well, let's go back. Just in case you don't remember or you just can't remember what the greatest common factor is and how we find it. So the greatest common factor, remember, when we deal with multiplication, factors in a multiplication problem are the numbers being multiplied together, right? And this is why, if you look at step 3, you see 2, you see 2 being divided by 6 and 2 being divided by 20, right? So you see 6 divided by 2, 20 divided by 2. But if you look at the answer, 3/10, you see that it's 2. If we do it backwards and you say, okay, so 2 times 3 gave me 6. 2 and 3 are the factors. that gave me 6. 2 and 10 are the factors that gave me 20. All right, so hopefully that's not confusing, but I just needed to stop for a second so we can go over that. So the factors, the greatest common factors are the numbers that we multiply together, right? So, and the greatest common factor would have been the one that both of them have in common that can be found in the factors. So, step 3, divide the numerator and denominator by the same number. That's when we did 6 divided into 2 equals 3, and 20 divided into 2 equals 10. Step 4, write the simplified fraction. So 6 over 20 came out to 3 over 10, 3/10. Okay? Now check to see if 3 and 10 have any common factors besides 1. They do not. So 3/10 is in its simplest form. Again, always remember to simplify a fraction, find the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator. Then we're going to divide both by the same number and keep simplifying until no larger common factor remains. Excellent job. Pause this video to discuss the activity in your workbook. Remember, we're still learning how to multiply fractions. As many examples as possible is key to learning and knowing. So, multiplying fractions is easy because we multiply the top numbers together and then multiply the bottom numbers together. Very simple, okay? Let's use the example 2/3 and 3/4. Step 1, write the fractions with a multiplication sign. We have 2/3 times 3/4. Step 2, multiply the numerators, which are the top numbers. 2 times 3 equals 6. Now, step 3, multiply the denominators, the bottom numbers. 3 times 4 equals 12. Step 4, write your answer as a fraction. So our answer is 6/12. 6 over 12. Now, let's check if the fraction can be simplified. So both 6 and 12 can be divided by 6. Let's break that down. 6 divided by 6 gives us 1. 12 divided by 6 gives us 2. So in other words, 6/12, the fraction 6/12 gives us half. It gives us 1 over 2. Again, remember, when multiplying fractions, multiply the numerators together, multiply the denominators together. Write the new fraction, and then simplify your answer if possible. Go ahead and pause this video so that you can work on your activity in your workbook. All right, let's continue to practice. Simplifying means making the number smaller while keeping the fraction worth or value the same amount. Let's simplify 6/12. Let's simplify the answer that we got, which was 6/12, okay? We're going to break this down even faster and better. So our fraction is 6/12, and that's what we should write down for step 1. Write the fraction down. Now, step 2, find the greatest common factor, or the GCF, greatest common factor. The greatest common factor, the GCF of 6 and 12 is 6. Because why? 6 divides evenly into both numbers. Step 3, divide the numerator and denominator by the same number, which means divide the top number, 6, into 6. So 6 divided into 6 equals 1. Divide the bottom number, 12. 12 divided into 6 equals 2. This gives us the new fraction, which is 1 over 2, which is half. So step 4, write the simplified fraction down. 6 over 12 equals 1 over 2. 6/12 equals half when we write it simplified. Okay? So even though the numbers are smaller, when we see 6/12 and half, or 1 over 2, they still represent the exact same amount. Let's remember, to simplify a fraction, find the greatest common factor, divide the numerator and denominator by that same number, and keep simplifying until no larger common factor is left. Excellent job. Again, pause this video so that you can do your activity. So simplifying before multiplying. We're multiplying and dividing fractions. So simplify first, multiply or divide next. Simplifying simply means reducing. So reducing the fractions before multiplying or dividing can make the numbers smaller and the work easier. Why? Because smaller numbers are easier to work with. Because fewer steps mean less chance of mistakes. And because overall, it just saves time. So simplify first in order to solve it the smart way. Excellent job. Let's move on. So for some people, I want to give this image right here because I need to show how some people see this as easier to do it without simplifying. For me, it was always easier to do this without simplifying and then simplify it last. This only becomes a problem when the number is extremely big, when the fraction at the bottom is really, really big, and then it takes time because now you're trying to break that big fraction down. 8 over 18 is not too big of a fraction. But when that fraction becomes something way bigger and way harder to break down, that's when it becomes hectic. It becomes a longer process to use it without simplifying first, then simplify next. So if that is you, let me take a moment to show you how to simplify. Let's learn how to simplify. Okay? So without simplifying, let's speak on both of them. So without simplifying, so let's look at the example 2/3 multiplied into 4/6. On the left side, if we don't simplify first, we multiply 2 times 4 equals 8. And then we do the denominators. 3 times 6 equals 18. So that gives us 8 over 18 as the answer. But we know we could look at it and we could tell it needs to be simplified even further. So that's when we would break it down. We would reduce 8 over 18 and simplify it even more, okay? We would see what goes into both of them and can break it down even further. So this is the answer that's not simplified, okay? When we first started working it. Now, so let's look at the other side because it's already understood that you have 8/18ths, you will have to simplify that, which means you'll just divide them, right? Just as we learned earlier, we have to simplify it. What goes into both numbers and breaks it down even further. In other words, so for me, that's easy. That is easier than the other part when I was younger. But that's because I didn't know this right here. So let's go to the right side with simplifying. So now let's look at the easier way to people who have been taught it the way I'm about to teach you. Before multiplying, we look for the numbers that can be simplified across the fractions. The 2 on the top and the 6 on the bottom can both be divided by 2. So we looked at the second example that says with simplifying. And we said, okay, so we see 2 and 6, right? Across from each other. 2 and 6. All right, so 2 divided into 2 gives me 1. And 6 divided into 2 gives me 3. So now we have, instead of 6, we have 3 right there. So now our problem becomes 1/3 minus that 1 that you see. I'm not sure why it's showing a 1 under the 3, but exclude that, okay? So now we see 1/3 multiplied into 2/3, right? So let's look at it. 1/3 times 2/3. Next, we multiply the numerators because what? The bottoms are the same. That made it even easier for our brains to even understand it just by doing that. So multiply the numerators. 1 times 2 equals, yes, 2. Excellent. 3 times 3 equals 9. Good. So our answer is 2 nights. Why? Because we already simplified it. We already done it. So once we simplify the first one in the red rectangle, the red square, once we simplify 8/18, we will come to the conclusion that it is 2 nights once we break it all the way down. So for you, which one do you think was easier? Did you think it was easier to do it without simplifying first, or to just simplify it beforehand? Excellent. I'm glad you figured something out that helps you. And if you did not, try some more examples so that you could become more familiar with what works for you and what's more easier for you to understand. So always remember, simplify first, then multiply. Less work, smaller numbers, same answer. Pause this image, pause this video so that you can do your activity in your workbook. Excellent job. All right, creative learning adventures. I am hoping that you are getting the most out of this video, and I'm hoping that you understand that some videos have to be longer to explain it properly. If we do it too fast, then it's not well explained. So, have a beautiful one. We'll see you next time. Always remember, like, comment, and subscribe. You never know who it's going to reach, who the video is going to reach that can benefit from the way it is being taught. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you next time.